Have you ever thought about what your default listening mode is? I've been thinking about this a lot lately because it's been coming up in so many different conversations that I'm having with teams and with individuals who are talking about wanting to listen better or about being frustrated with another person. And there's an exercise that we do that is pretty insightful in giving us clues of our default listening mode. It's really simple. Listen when someone is complaining to you. So I will actually partner people up and give them a minute to complain to the other person and notice what your default wants to do. So when someone's complaining to us, if you find yourself either falling in the camp of wanting to jump in and commiserate with them and jump on the bandwagon, or maybe you're finding yourself tuning out like the peanuts, wah, 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 because you're like, are you serious? What are you complaining about? That's what we call listening to assess. Essentially, we are listening for whether or not we agree with what the other person is saying. And if so, we're going to lean in. And if not, we're going to tune them out. If, as you're listening to the person, you find yourself wanting to jump in and offer suggestions, solutions, advice, or share a similar experience, well intended, but that is what we call listening for solutions or listening for connections. Essentially, we're looking for a place where we can insert ourselves in that conversation. And in either of those cases, that conversation is now completely not about the other person. It's all about us, what we think, our values, where we think we can contribute. The other person kind of almost doesn't need to be there. And when we're on the receiving end of that type of listening, we feel it, it's deflating, and we tend to shut down and not feel seen and heard. The other way that we can listen is listening with a spirit of service, where we don't just listen to the words that people say, we listen to what they're not saying and the energy and the spaces in between. And when those instincts come in of wanting to make it about us, we go, nope, it's not about me, it's about the other person. It's about turning down our own internal volume so we can turn up the volume of the other person. And something to consider is that when people are complaining at the end of the day, it's usually because there is an unidentified or unmet goal. There is something that they're wanting. So instead of jumping on them with our thinking, when we hold space and give them a chance to get clear about what they're wanting and their thinking and help them feel seen and valued, that's how we find a path forward. And that is how listening becomes your superpower. So, my invitation and my challenge for you this week is twofold. One, if you find yourself complaining or someone else's, remember that there is a goal there that has an opportunity to be identified and clarified. And secondly, see if you can catch yourself when you're listening to assess or for connections or solutions, and instead listen with that spirit of service and notice how much more you learn. Notice how much more connected you become to others. I would love to hear what opens up for you. And remember, when we listen with a spirit of service, we give more people an opportunity to let their sparkle shine.